What is the date today? Welcome to the Tuesday, November 21st special council meeting in regards to short-term rentals.
Can we have time?
Hey, guys. We got a meeting going
Guys,
on
we're
here.
calling the meeting to order.
Okay. Tuesday, November 21st special council meeting to talk about short-term rentals. First statement I want to make, I guess, is that we don't have any intention at all in banning short-term rentals in Cross Lake,
Not at all.
ever. So,
Where did that come from?
well, it's coming.
It's been posted on the internet multiple times this week to have all these people come on to Zoom because somebody said we're banning short-term rentals at this meeting, so that's wrong.
So that's not the intent of this at all, and I think I want to open this meeting up with just making a motion, asking the council whether they have an appetite to do some local short-term rental enforcement. So I'm going to make a motion that we have it local and not the county.
The licensing as well as
The licensing and the enforcement, and just take control of it locally. That's what the issue is, because we already have the county doing it.
I don't have a problem with that as long as, we have all our ducks in a row and that the staff can handle it and.
Okay, so is that a yes, a second?
It's a conditional yes.
Well, those are the things we got to discuss and bring into place.
We need a second.
Yeah, we need a
Oh, I
second.
didn't know that was a motion. I just thought you were talking about.
No, I just want to see, if we don't have an appetite to do anything here, then there's no sense taking up any time, and we'll end the meeting. So,
Can we still have it? Well, we have to have a second, I guess.
There has to be a second, or it has to die, one of the two.
It fails for a lack of second. I mean, I'm not calling it, I'm just saying.
okay, so there's not a second?
Nope.
Well, I'm going to second it just so we can have a discussion. Then we can.
Well, then the next thing is to vote on it, and,
Well, can't we have a discussion before we?
yeah, okay.
So I'll second that just for the sake of discussion.
Okay, do we have any discussion on it? Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Where's the enforcement piece?
Well, we don't
Not
have
the
it
enforcement, the safety piece of it. Where's the safety piece?
as far as inspections?
Yes.
Well, that's to be determined.
Well, there's nothing in here, and you will never get my vote if it's not in there. That's the whole reason I was going to be supportive of it, because we were going to
For
get the
safety
safety.
inspection. Your safety.
Piece of it.
Safety inspection.
The safety inspection aspect of it.
But as it was written, and I guess I'm surprised that I'm not seeing it in here. Very surprised.
Can I ask if we've gotten any fines from when the city attorney sends out the,
For your motion.
Yeah, and that's
Oh.
where I want to have a discussion today about what the city plans on doing in terms of, I was going to pull up, letters have been sent out in terms of compliance issues. We have a checklist. I think, Marcia, you might have been in communication with Jane from our office about.
yes, and I talked to Mitchell Hennenkamp from the county, and this year there was only, I shouldn't say only, there were 22 complaints, and I think 14 were sent to your office, and most of those were violations of no license.
Exactly.
So to me, it looks like there were letters sent out fining him $1,000. Where did that money go to? There wasn't a if or, it was you owe us a fine of $1,000. Where is that money?
Yeah, and I guess I don't have an answer for you in terms of what with regards to the violations, if there are violations, and letters sent out about, paying a fine. I don't have an answer for you on that one. I guess it's probably not in my area of who's who's paid and who's not. The letters have been sent out, and I've got a checklist I'm trying to pull up.
Yeah.
But I think the other conversation to have is, if the fines aren't paid, from a legal standpoint, is what's going to be the city's next step. And there's and not only that, about what, if they don't pay, how can we enforce the fines? Obviously you can bring legal action to essentially collect on that, or, get a judgment. The city can. I've also understand in my brief conversations with Brad on this, It's my understanding that if there are fines, it's possible that they can be then tacked on to the property taxes.
So we can
Possible
assess
tax
these
for-
fines.
tax
Okay,
forfeiture.
so I'm trying to figure out, because this letter that went out to these violations, it says, due to this violation, the city hereby fines you $1,000 pursuant to the city code. Okay, so then they ante up $1,000. Where is that $1,000?
Have we received any? I think that's the first question.
Yeah, and I don't have an answer.
That's what I just asked.
No, you said, where is it? I don't know.
Well, where is it? Okay, same thing. Where is it? To me, it's the same thing, but whatever.
Have we received any fine money? No.
So what happens when we fine them $1,000? There is no follow-up from your office. You don't tell city administration about it, so it's out there in limbo.
I would agree, there needs to be communication back and forth, okay, these from the city and our office to say, in the county, yes, exactly. In the event that, hey, they haven't complied, the fine is out there, it's not been enforced, you need to take the next steps to get this enforced.
Well, yeah, so if we knew that letter went out, I assume that you must copy the city. Do you copy the city?
Yes.
So if you copy the city and you don't receive the fine, can't we certify the fine on the taxes and we collect it? They have no choice, because if they don't pay their property taxes, it'll go into default delinquent.
And that's probably a county question, I don't have an answer for that, about whether they can go ahead and assess these $1,000 fines that aren't being paid. Can the county then apply this to the property taxes?
No, why would the county? The city will, because the city should be getting that $1,000.
Well, there needs to be, I guess, a communication between the city and the county on how that.
I don't know why that hasn't
We would
occurred.
have to certify it to the county for the county to collect it.
Isn't this kind of part of the point if we were going to handle it all by ourselves, so we wouldn't be this disconnect between the county and the city and who's doing what? It just seems like it would be cleaner. And I mean, maybe it'd be more work initially, but it just seems like it would be a cleaner process if we just handled it all ourselves. That's,
Well,
is this very argument.
But these are from 2023, these complaints.
Well-
And
well, that's this year.
Well, regardless.
That's the problem.
So I just think that it says the city fines, hereby fines you $1,000. Then our city administration should be, if they get a copy of this, should be sending out, we still haven't, after 30 days, still haven't received the $1,000.
Can I make a statement?
Yeah.
The city administration received no copy.
Oh, okay, then our attorney is mistaken then.
Right, and if the council,
But they
if
should
you
be.
do receive those copies, we can bring those forward, and you can pass a resolution at the next council meeting to certify them against property taxes. We can do that.
Don't you have to give them a notice first?
Say we can't go crazy.
They've been noticed already.
Yeah.
We could certify it just like we do delinquent sewer bills, like you did at the last council meeting.
Okay.
Correct, Shar?
I'm fine with that. That's what we should do.
So if we have that list, we can bring it forward, and you can certify that to the property taxes, and we'll move forward with it. So if you can give us that list, we'll go ahead and put that together and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that after talking to Mitchell and to Jane from your office, I think things are happening. It's just that the city is falling down on collecting the fines, not the county. So I think the county is doing the job, and I have sheets of non-compliant and resolved. So they're following through with everything. They're finding out, they're going out and finding out who doesn't have a license and is renting out. So I'm all for leaving it with the county and then tightening up this loop with the fines and collecting them. I think if people found out that we're going to collect that $1,000, that they might go get licensed.
Okay, the point of this motion, though, is to decide if the council wants to pursue it. The motion doesn't include, or it's implemented today, but if we want to answer, there's a lot of questions. I think this motion has been in front of the council for 3 years. The county has had it for 2 years. I believe that the county made a statement that they are not going to do any enforcement. Now that maybe has changed, but they're not going to do it. So if there's an issue, they're going to turn it back to the city. And unless we have a designated staff or something that is going to take control of that and pursue it, nothing's going to happen. So the reason for the motion here is to talk about all these areas and decide whether we want to handle it locally.
But it is happening. It is happening.
It doesn't sound to me like there's a lot.
I agree with Marcia that it
Falling
is
down
happening
on
because we
it.
passed the.
We are, so what makes you
Can I-
think that we're going to do a better job? I don't know.
Okay, but Marcia, we passed the enforcement ordinance. What we failed to do as a council is we failed to tell them what our expectation is once we passed it. So now, I agree with Dave, we need to set that process in place. Okay? But if you want to go with the full ordinance, I'm going to oppose it until the safety section of it is in there.
Aaron, we don't have an ordinance, so there is no safety in there. We have to create the ordinance.
Well,
So
I'm looking
that's
at
what
it.
Dave is looking for, is to create an ordinance with all this in there, with life safety.
But Chip, I'm looking at a copy of what is being proposed. And I
There
don't
isn't
see-
anything proposed. We don't have, oh, you mean the counties? This
that's
is
the
the county.
counties,
Yeah,
the
so we're talking
counties.
about you're talking about two different things here, Aaron. Aaron, you're talking about the county, and then you're talking about the city moving forward with a different ordinance. Back to Marcia's comment, the county is not looking for the people that are not licensed. You mentioned earlier in your first statement was that they had complaints of people not licensed. That's how that's how they got caught, being licensed. They don't do anything.
Okay, this is what this Mitchell, I can't see his last name, Heinekamp said. As of this date, there were 14 enforcement packets forwarded to the city attorney, with 2 that will be sent up shortly. These were almost all enforcements based on failure to obtain a license for short-term rental.
Okay, originally you said there were complaints. That's how they found those.
Well, the total is 22,
Anyway, it doesn't
14 of
matter.
the 22.
My biggest issue is life safety, like Aaron said. We have to have a life safety inspection. If you don't, I mean, you're just liable for something if something were big to happen. It's just, I don't know if you want to look at other stuff again. We've done this for 3 years. TJ's got, when I was out in Tahoe, I spoke with the Vail chief, and they have everything, again, I've spoke about the Vail a lot, but everything for their short-term rental is online. They apply, everything is, they pay their taxes, they pay all their fees are online. Everything is done, so you got to buy the program, obviously. There's fees, everything is taken care of, so you have your whitefish tax, you can have your hotel tax, everything is in there and it's paid. They create their own account. You have to have a contact information for the manager. I mean, everything's right there. It's all on a document. He says they'd have no personnel that does any of this. It's all online.
Is it your belief that the county is never going to go to that extent?
They're never going to go life safety. They're never going to do any of this.
The county is doing it all online now, too, the applications.
So, does anybody know how many registered VRBOs or short-term rentals there are in the city of Cross Lake at the county? How many?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Patricia Demko, 12038 Harbor Lane in Cross Lake. 12038 Harbor Lane in Cross Lake. So Jessica Shea, I pay for the lists for Whitefish Area Lodging Association, so we send out notices if they're licensed from the county, and per the last list, there was 120 licensed short-term rentals in the city of Cross Lake.
Okay, stay right there for a second. My next question is does anybody want to make a guess at how many there are in Cross Lake?
Over 300.
Over 300. So after 3 years, 2 years strictly with the county, they're not at 40% yet, or, 30% licensing. 50?
15.
15%. Well, we don't know what that final number is, but they're someplace in that. So they're not gonna get there. They're probably at where they're at.
And honestly, that's the easiest fine to determine and collect. I have some issues with how do you validate the complaints that are made, like noise level or whatever. I mean, for someone to get fined for something that some crabby neighbor calls up about, you know, I mean, how valid is that? Really going to inflict a $1,000 fine on somebody? I mean, I just think that's kind of,
Well,
but this, you know,
Yeah.
it's black and white. There's no,
And
the-
talking to the, I think it was wherever St. Cloud is, that county.
Stearns.
Stearns.
Yeah.
They said, as long as there's documentation, so if someone goes out and has a cell phone audio, or they have some kind of audio or something of the noise complaint, that's how they assessed all their fines. And they said it was pretty black and white, and the biggest thing is that it sounds really scary at the beginning, but then once you just take that jump, it figures itself out when you have it all in place. And it's not, when you really put it on to the people that are making the complaints to have all the documentation in place, it's pretty easy then, because it's black and white.
So it's something they could record on their cell phone?
Yeah.
Am I gathering correctly?
Yes.
Okay, thank
is that
you.
also in that website that you just showed us from Vail, is that also?
It talks about everything in there.
See-
It's streamlined.
They
The
got
one
it
thing that
figured out.
everybody has to understand is when Jake and I and his staff and my staff, we go to a lot of medicals, a lot of calls. It seems like a lot of them are short-term rentals. You didn't know they were short-term rentals, and that's a problem. We need to know, if we can have them registered, they can put them in the CAD, we know if they're short-term rentals or not. We have a contact of where we can reach somebody if we need to. Right now, it's like, I don't know, I mean, it's a lot.
So if the city were to take it over, we could control that.
Correct.
Oh,
And,
oh.
and without that, we can't. So that's back to my motion. Do we have an appetite to seriously look into this?
Well, I think we definitely have an appetite. It's just, are we going to implement it and get it all polished off before January 1st? Or what's the time frame here? I doubt it. That's why I'm going with the county. We talked about 3 months ago that we'd have something ready. I have put it on the agenda multiple times for discussion. We breezed right past it, and now we're right back to where we were 3 or 4 months ago. So that's why I'm voting with the county, because we're not going to be ready by January 1st.
Well, we've said that for 3 years.
Well, I think the county, you can download to the,
Have I not? Okay, whatever.
you can download complaints and stuff to the county. The county is doing a good job. How are we going to find these other ones? If you're going out to deals on their rentals and they're not on the website, then you should call the county and tell them, and then they will get a letter. He just said that you go out and they're rentals. You need to know if they're short-term rentals, and you find out they're short-term rentals. And if they're not on the license thing, then call the county and turn them in. It's not your job. It's not the,
Mike,
Can I-
People gotta
can I ask-
work
can I-
together.
Tim, can I ask what you had to say?
Yeah, so Tim Berg, 12038 Harbor Lane, Cross Lake. I just wanted to speak towards Jackson and, I spoke kind of in May, came pretty hard on you guys, and I challenged you to have something in place by the end of August. It didn't happen, and that's okay. I'm sensing a lot of fear, and we've talked to a lot of counties. Chip has done so much homework on this. No matter what you do, there's going to be growing pains, there's going to be mistakes. You can't judge or try to make decisions on fear. It's not going to be smooth to begin with. I just would like you to consider that. And if you're thinking, if there's 300 short-term rentals in the city of Cross Lake, we've talked about doing $500 for the licensing. That's a lot of money. And I've spent 11 years for the most part on public works. So I have a lot of interest invested into the city. So I've sat in your seats. I know we need the money. We need the safety. We need some regulation, and we can't put it off anymore. I think you just have to have faith that Chip wants what's best. I guess that's all I can really say is don't be afraid. Don't let the county have it. They're not doing nothing. They don't have our best interest in mind.
Well, I was just going to say, it seems like, it's so easy to say, let's just let the county do it, and then we don't have to deal with it. But I think that as Tim said, I think we're losing out on some revenue, and I also think we're losing out on control of what's happening in our city.
You can't make revenue on it. You have to break even by law. which is fine. I get that, and I'm not afraid to do it. It's just, are we going to have it done by January 1st? If we can wrap it all up by January 1st,
It won't
great,
get
I'll
done.
vote for it. Let's go. I think the Vail stuff, streamlining it on the internet is great. So when it comes in front of Peter or Shar or Cheryl,
Right.
all they have to do is look at the documents, then say, hey, come to City Hall or pay postage to send it. That's fantastic.
Can I,
That's what I said, Chip. I said all online, but to get there, okay.
Jackson, why do we have to have it done by January 1st?
That's when you.
We have to have a 30-day notice into the Crow Wing County, so by the end of this month. That's all we really have to do. We really don't have to have anything into effect, as far as I'm concerned, until about end of March. You know, we have time.
Okay, see, I thought licenses expired right away on January
We just need to let
1st.
Crow Wing County have a 30-day notice, so by the end of this month.
The
we need to tell
county's
them-
licenses expire December 31st.
Okay,
You're
that's what I
correct.
thought.
But they can,
Yeah, it,
well, over half of them aren't licensed anyway, so.
yeah.
People will start calling in January to ask how they get
And if they're not going to be
licensed.
licensed for a while,
Mayor?
and something happens, it falls on the city, does it not?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mayor, two things. One,
How does that not have anything
It
to do with
doesn't
it
fall
when
on
we're
the
talking
city.
about how we're going to get, how we could be fined or safety and all that fun stuff?
We have zero liability if they're not licensed.
Okay, couple of things. I don't care what fee you put on it, it's going to cost the city money, and you just have to accept that fact, okay? I don't have a problem with that. My concern is the county does not provide safety issues. They don't come out and provide any inspections. They don't come out and check septic systems. They require inspections. I think we have honest inspectors in our area, but who's to say they don't go to the cities and hire one that's not?
Well, that's just
So-
an argument for having the city take over.
Well, it is, but as long as there has to be safety issues and we have to approach it the right direction, and I agree that we need to do it now. Because the county, if we're going to tell them, we need to tell them to reject anything from the city of Cross Lake with a notice. You have to contact Cross Lake. We've got to put ours, Jake and Chip and Peter, we have to put ours in place. You three are going to have to put down on paper how it works so that we, the council, can understand it. And I know you've got a lot of it already there. Well,
It's all out
no,
there.
How long do you think it'll take, Chip, to get that online?
I don't know if it'll be done by January 1st,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
But
Well,
by
but
March.
I think.
I don't know, I can't answer that question.
Yeah.
Do you have access to the information about the, that website that Vail is using?
I have information, but I have not talked or spoke to any of them how to create a city's own site.
Well, I think there, I know, what was that gentleman's name? I know we have someone local who actually was.
Chad Dixon seems to think he.
Yeah,
can
no,
help.
that, this is something a little bit higher than that, a little bit different.
But I
than
mean,
that. Yeah,
somebody
that's-
can,
yeah.
somebody should be able to, put that together.
No, I
What-
think we need to go with somebody that has a history of doing it, and this company has a history in their national, and it would be streamlined. I don't think we need to piece it together.
What kind of software does the county have? I mean, they have the mapping, they have the addresses, they have the download for complaints. They have all that stuff, so I don't know that I would go with something that Vail, Colorado is doing when the county's got,
They
But
can
here's
use
the
it
thing,
as comparison.
If we decide to do this, then the wheels have got to start turning, but we can just keep,
Well, we're asking you to have faith in yourself and to understand mistakes are gonna be made. But until you make that decision that we're gonna roll with it, you asked at one point that you wanted help from the community. Chip's here, Jake's here, we're willing to help. We don't want any income off of this, we just wanna help. So you just have to have it in your heart to say yes, that we're gonna do this. And then once you say that, things will start moving. Somebody at some point has to make this happen.
Okay, so let's go back to the motion, is do we have an appetite to pursue a local,
well, you motioned and
Enforced,
I
yeah.
seconded.
That doesn't mean approve. So pursue does not mean approve.
No, we don't know what we're approving.
Right, I think we all have a motion to approve, or to pursue that. I would vote for that, yes.
Let's just vote for it, and then we can get on to, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Aye. 4-1.
So then can we
So,
have a, do we need, I mean, I would love to just put Chip, Jake, the Bergs, in charge, or anybody else wants to volunteer, then.
I think we're gonna have to find somebody outside to manage this. It's gonna be,
I disagree.
you think so? Well, how about enforcement on the street, Chip? How about going out, somebody calls? You guys are gonna do it?
It sadly falls on the police department.
It's no different than anybody living in a house.
But it is.
I think, because unless,
Why is it any different than if the county's doing it or if we're doing it?
The county's not doing it.
That's what I'm
and won't.
saying. What
Yeah.
do you do for the complaints right now? You don't get any.
I don't know how the county is the county criminally charging people? What are we talking about?
What we're talking about is writing a.
Enforcement
What
for a
we're
noise
talking
complaint?
about, we're talking about writing a police report.
Garbage, dogs, I mean, the problems that you have with them.
Okay.
I don't know how I can charge a homeowner criminally with multiple noise complaints that are
I don't
made
even know
by different people that are there weekly. I'd have to look into it as far as
Yeah, I don't know if
charges go.
charging is the right term, documenting the infraction.
What you're doing
Oh,
is.
I can document, we document all day long. I've been doing it for over 3 years.
Well,
But Jake, what we're talking about is the documentation that then you guys can sit down, work with our city attorney, and if appropriate charges are, if charges are appropriate, they can be filed. They don't have to be charged that night. It can be charged a week later, a month later, 2 months later.
I don't even think it's going to go to the extent of charges, just fines if they're excessive or whatever.
And then they're charged under the ordinance, which is the short-term rental violation ordinance. And that fines are much higher. I forget what they are.
The fines we have were in front of you. I sent those to you.
Yeah,
Those are what we have.
Yeah.
well, I just don't remember them off the top of my head. I can look it
Can our
up.
city attorney fine
Yeah,
the
and we work through
homeowner for
him.
multiple noise violations at their address? It's a civil penalty.
If it's a civil matter, we can file a civil action and pursue, damages. You can also pursue injunctive relief. Let's say you have somebody that's not complying and you seek a declaratory judgment or injunctive relief to get them to stop in a court order to indicate that. So that's, from a enforcement standpoint, from a civil standpoint, if you got the fines, that we would work with the city administrator in terms of who's not paying, how can we tack this onto the property taxes, how can we assess that, just to create some dialogue between city administrator and myself or our office. But part two is if they're not complying with certain aspects and you need to get them to comply, then you would bring forth a court action to seek injunctive relief and have a court order that whether they're not applying for the permit or something they're just not complying with, that you would seek, an injunction on.
Let's just say anything that the homeowner doesn't have control about, such as noise
But they-
complaints. They don't have control over how much partying these people are gonna come and do and how late they're gonna stay up and how much they're gonna bother their neighbors. That's what we get called for the noise complaints. So when we show up there, it's either, I can document it, which we've been doing. If there is some sort of, not just a civil, but, like a criminal element to it. And when I say criminal, it sounds bad, but for a noise violation, there's state statutes that I can write tickets for public nuisance and whatnot. That will go to the person who is responsible renting that place that night, not to the homeowner. I can't charge a homeowner for something somebody's doing on their property.
The homeowner gets charged under the short-term rental ordinance.
That'd be a civil part of it.
Again, I just want to
That's what I'm-
re-emphasize,
that's-
our main goal is to just have control and knowing of who has short-term rentals. Because you can have noise complaints from a resident So don't make it a big deal that, I mean, it's everybody, it's not just short-term rentals.
I just wanted to cover that, so nobody has
Trying to find out.
expectations that we can just go out and be like, you know, because we have
Local
control
control
of
is what I'm thinking of, so we have accountability of what's going on in our city. That's basically what I'm.
Right.
Other than the police report and getting it into the process for the three of you to look at, four of you, to look at and to deal with, then it's no different really than what you're doing today,
Correct.
Right.
okay? Does that make sense? But I think.
No, I just wanted to get out and open on
But- but-
how it would work.
But I believe the controls need to be internal. I really do.
Okay, but I keep hearing us stumbling over what we can do or what we can do. I would like to see us, if there's 300 of them in town, we charge $500 a piece, that's 150 grand we're gonna gain right there. I would like to see us on a year by year, we can renew or up, but do a percent charge on them. Sales tax, lodging tax charge, going back to the city, just to try to figure out how it's not going to cost the regular taxpayers of this town to enforce this or to follow it. Now, each year, we can up it, we can lower it, we can put it away, and then the penalty conditions, so that we're going to generate some money that we could hire, at least on a year-to-year basis, get a consultant in here who knows these answers, who has done it before. That's where we stumble all the time, is because we come up with all these for instances, and we lose it, and we stop. We got to get somebody who's done this before and have them come up.
Well, I think we're overcomplicating this tonight.
Probably.
Let's bring it back to the fact that we have the appetite.
So Tim Berg, again, I agree, Mr. Herzog. We're overcomplicating. So you have this wonderful website. I'm a neighbor of a VRB or a short-term rental. They're super loud. I go out, I take pictures, I take video. It's my job to go to the website and I upload it, and that goes to whoever is going to handle it. And what they do is they reach out to the owner of that short-term rental and they show them the video and they see that they're not in compliance, strike one. Happens again, it's a different night, I take my video, I take my pictures, I go to the website, I post it. If it's the same address and we find that you are actually out of compliance, that short-term rental is strike two. After strike three, you lose your ability to rent. So we're overcomplicating. I mean, the Cross Lake Police Department really shouldn't even be involved.
So they have to be for the recording and for the record keeping. That's the problem.
Well, it depends on who you're going to put in charge. So if maybe Chip takes the safety part, maybe Jake's administrator, his new assistant or whatever, is keeping track of the violations.
Yeah.
But until they reach 3 violations, the police department doesn't have to be involved. In fact, they should never be involved.
Yeah, even
So when we do it, who's,
Right. So when you say we're overcomplicating, we are overcomplicating.
Yes.
when we do it, who's going to watch the videos for the noise complaints that get submitted to our website? I mean, I know we have to figure that out, but does anybody have an idea right now?
Jennifer, the police administrative assistant, and that part of her duties were to work with this ordinance and this
Right.
process.
And from what I've heard, there aren't that many complaints.
There really aren't.
I mean,
Talking
it's
to
not
these
like it's,
counties,
you know, like,
you'd be surprised that there's not, because
Yeah.
people don't want to get in trouble. There's a lot of money at stake when you own a house up here, especially on the lake. You want pretty respectable clientele. It's going to happen every once in a while, but people don't want to be in trouble.
And I.
Do we know how many complaints that the county's got in Cross Lake?
22, I heard.
Just this year? And I had,
for just licensing issues, yeah.
and there were 14 were licensing?
Yeah, 14.
So 6 were noise or something else. I've had 9 this year.
I mean,
And-
over a whole summer, a whole season.
If you're thinking
That's never-
300
That's why I
short-term
say
rentals, that's
We're
nothing.
overcomplicating it. We
Yes.
have the staff to handle this and to do it.
Yep.
We have good staff. Let's give them a chance to do it.
Okay, so who are we going to delegate to our staff to take this over and do it? Who's going to do it?
did hire Jen for, with that.
She should be here.
Chip, could you get more information, or Mike, could you get information about the software that, and how much it costs, and et cetera, and bring that to our next council meeting?
Ask the county. Ask the county.
Yes, I can get more information for you.
Thank you. Are we actually making a decision?
No.
You want to see what they do in Vale real quick, or not? You want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
TJ.
Thanks, Tim.
You got to go. Okay, Marcia's got to leave. Thanks for coming, Marcia.
So this is their short-term rental website, and you can click on anything that talks about exactly how to go through it. It gives you directions on how to do it. They have their ordinance. They just made some changes in 2023. It's a really short ordinance, very simple, straight and to the point. It's got their fines and everything else. You can go to, click on something else. So there's your safety inspection. Super simple. If people have questions, they just click on here and it'll tell you what you need. Like click on one of those, maybe, yeah, click on that, yeah. So it'll tell you, or that's not a good site, but it tells you where to go to find out definitions of what they're looking for. Let's go back to the main. It gives you, let's go down to the bottom. Individual property owners go like gives you your rental compliance affidavit, short-term rental representative owner authorization form. It basically everything you need to become a short-term rental manager or rent your place out. Click on any of those highlighted ones. It'll tell you, you know, yeah, sure. Boom, there's your short-term rental, local representative responsibility, blah, blah, blah. So now that'll register into the database. Go down to the right, go to the right. Next one down. Oh, that one's all right. Scroll down farther. Go back up, sorry. There's somewhere where it says steps to become, go up higher. Checklist, SDR, follows instructions, and proper zone, professional property. Yeah, I mean, if you have time, go on this website. Everything's streamlined.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's how to apply. It's got a PowerPoint presentation on how to do it. It's got everything.
Chip, can you send us a link on our TJ or something?
Sure.
Okay.
See, if we could mock that, that'd be fantastic. Just copy and paste that whole thing.
Chip, does the city of
Oh,
Vail,
yeah, here's your complaint thing down there in the bottom.
does the city of Vail own that website, or is it,
They hire the company. It's called,
so can we get hold of the company and just buy it from them?
yeah, I looked into it a little bit yesterday. I didn't have time, but yeah, they create the website and then it links it into your own personal website.
And we should be able to buy that same program and just.
Fantastic.
on it.
And in fact, like, for example, any of the inspection part of it, it actually shoots me or planning and zoning an email and then there's a schedule, a calendar, and then you can fill in the spaces, here's what's available, and then everything is online.
Perfect.
Yeah. But if you have time, we'll send you the link and look through it this time.
Do you think it's at all possible to have this, at least this part of it by January 1st?
I don't believe by January 1st, because you'd have to approve all the different formats, you know, obviously the ordinance, the fines, the creation of this. I don't think it'll be ready by then.
30-day comment period on the ordinance and
Yep.
whatnot. I think it is doable by the 1st of March, if we move.
How about just taking the application and the cost?
Yeah.
We could do that by January 1st. Here's your application, and we're taking your money.
Yeah, you can advertise
Right.
and say, here, to apply at the city of Cross Lake, you could have to have a short ordinance, or something.
Right?
see
We
what
may
you're
not
saying.
have the online thing ready.
Right, but you can take the application,
Physical
the
application
fee,
and fee.
inspection, yeah, I can do it
It can
manually.
And enter it all in.
manually.
That part can be in place. We just have to pass the ordinance.
Yeah, I think you need to be a little careful though, because if you're taking the money, you better have a safety inspection, because then you are liable,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. And I think that's where the
can
county
do
has
that.
gone wrong.
But we can set a date to do the inspections.
And as you read through the veil, it gives you timelines, so you only have to get inspected like once every 3 years. There's all these different things like that.
I would think mountain system is different than a regular system, and
I don't, you have to ask them.
yeah, it'd be Peter, but, so I think, Dave, I think you've got at least 4. I think Marcia voted for it.
No, she voted against
4 to
it.
1. She'll never vote for it, but that's okay.
But you've got 4 that are saying, let's move forward. I've
just,
got expectations when I read our ordinance, and so
Oh.
you understand that.
Can you open up the Zoom comments real quick, please, TJ? I just want to scroll past some of them and see what some
I'll
of
work
them
with
say.
Jake and Jen and basically the whole staff just to
Holy
get
buckets.
something together.
Can you copy those somehow and? Yeah, I mean, do you want to open up? No, I mean, I just want to read them whenever. But
Yeah,
if we
I'd
could
like-
somehow see what they have to say, because they all hopped on here for a reason.
Oh,
That's fine. I'd still like to read it.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I mean, are we going to discuss this for another 2 hours, or have we determined what we're going to determine, and we're going to set another meeting and come back with, see what kind of results you have?
okay.
And then we can set a meeting. Okay.
But I think we should do it probably sooner and later if we're going to try to get anything going by the 1st of January.
You have to do it before the 1st of December. That's short.
So, we do need to give that 30-day notice though, right, to
Right.
Crow Wing County?
Yeah,
So
well,
that
that's-
has to be voted on by you guys that we're gonna no longer.
I don't believe that
I
the
don't think
county
we're
will have
there
any
yet.
problem with us
I do.
moving out of
I
it.
thought we were just talking,
Then we're stuck? We lose another
No, I
year?
think we are.
we
well,
were
I
just
think-
talking about,
No, we're talking about taking a leap of faith here today. That's what today's meeting's about, you guys. It's about taking that
Well,
leap of
I
faith.
think we're going to meet again before the 1st of December, and that's the date that we have to make.
You're gonna
that
have one
Can I
more
make a
meeting?
motion?
Oh, yeah, there's going to be another meeting before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we give notice to the county that we are going to take over the licensing.
I'll second that.
Can we wait until meeting that we have before December 1st, because we still have the
right,
time?
that's,
I have complete confidence that Chip.
I have confidence too, but I have also caution because.
You
I've
should have
listened
that
to the
caution.
And
inspection
that's where
piece
I'm at,
get
Sorry
too.
to interrupt,
Trashed and trashed.
but you gotta, somebody's gotta take that leap of faith. We're asking you, you
Well,
can do it.
And I have no problem with that. We need to do it in a timely manner so we don't get ourselves caught in a.
But how do you have
in a
that
mess.
meeting within another week?
Before the 1st of December.
Right, how, like, how does that happen? Like,
All we do is vote on it, he sends a message.
okay.
What more information are we going to have then than we have
what
now?
the information Chip was gonna,
Our actual ordinance. This is not our ordinance that we've been looking at. What's in here is not our ordinance, that's the county's. I want to see our ordinance.
right. And 30 minutes ago, we just said we were
Right.
gonna talk about the idea of pursuing this,
Right.
and now we're
when we
voting on
make an
it?
ordinance, it's gonna be flawed. It's
Well,
gonna be
I
flawed.
I don't doubt that, Tim. And I understand. I also understand that I've never seen, in over 40 years working with city government, I have never seen government enact an ordinance that didn't cost the city money, and I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. I go into it with that understanding, okay? My thing is, I want to see it, and I want this body to approve it, then we notify the county.
I'm all for it if you can make that happen in a week.
We don't have an ordinance,
I mirror everything.
One that was written up that's,
but
well, I understand that, but we still have.
that's nothing we're going to bring forward again.
And the ordinance, one of the stipulations in the ordinance is that this ordinance can change on an hour's notice at any time.
can.
This is going to be a moving target.
I thought the whole point was that we would just, as Tim said, take a leap of faith, and then we'll figure it out. But, I mean.
30 minutes ago, it was pursue the idea, and now it's over.
Well, that's what this
Going
meeting was
full
about,
deep.
Jackson. How did you not know what this meeting was about?
It was pursue. We said
No,
that.
this meeting's always been about trying to get
Did we not
away
say,
from Crow
did we
Wing
not
County.
say pursue 30 minutes ago? Was the motion not to pursue the idea?
Back in May, when I was here, Jackson, it was about having a plan in place for
Correct.
2024.
Fully
so how
agree.
you put your mind around trying to, the idea,
I fully agree with you. We've had it on,
I would say that you came here unprepared.
Okay,
have I not put it on the agenda multiple times, Shard, for it to be talked about? I have talked about that, Tim. I have
How long
had
do
the
you think it'll
idea.
take to make an ordinance? How long do you
It's
think
been
it'll take to put
tabled for
something
3
together?
months in a row.
It's been
3
tabled
months in
since
a row.
2012.
I don't know, Dave. I mean, with Thanksgiving this weekend, I don't.
I know.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I know,
And
it's a
I'm
tough
not
time.
next, Wednesday. or
And I'm
Wednesday
not
through
sure I
Friday.
can contact that company or any other companies. I have a lot of other contacts I can reach out to.
I think we could
really
look
don't
at
think
somebody
I can get
else's ordinances and just tweak
Oh,
it
yeah,
a little
that's
bit
easy- that's the easy
and
part.
implement
It's
that.
getting the information.
I would like to see a draft copy that I understand is going to need tweaking. Okay, I don't have a problem with that, but I'd like to see the draft copy that we have and have, I'll like take a look at it.
We
too.
don't have one.
Well,
How can we vote on something we don't have?
I had a sample, but that's not,
Okay.
Right.
Then put the
there was no
sample.
discussion in there.
Then,
Yes, we're
Chip,
going to
You
do
need
it.
more time than that.
So if we
understand,
put
but
it
at
in
least put the
perspective,
sample-
Crow Wing County doesn't actually
Just a
enforce
second.
anything. Oh, sorry.
please put the sample together so Alec can look at it and we can look at it. And I think we can get the flavor strong enough to where we know where the direction we're going in. Because I think you understand what my concerns are. And once my concerns are satisfied, I'll vote for it all day.
Is an ordinance actually contained within that software, that website?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah.
The last one we did, we had our city attorney look at it. We went through it. I think we were in the meetings, right?
I think I've got a copy of it here.
I'll revisit. I haven't looked at it in 6 months because we haven't talked about it, so.
Yeah, I've got it here.
I will look at it again, and then I'll look at some new
The
ones.
ordinances that stuff that I saw before, I was okay working with.
I think it was too detailed, actually, but
Well, but I
it was way too detailed, so we got to back off. on
So
some
Chip,
things. I'll look at it.
next Wednesday is the 29th, Thursday is the 30th. Could we schedule them, not the 30th? And next Wednesday, you're going to be gone, Sandy?
I could be here in the morning, early.
I mean, that's a week away. Can we have something to push forward by then, do you think?
And put it,
Or I can Zoom.
Mike,
On Thursday or Wednesday?
that it is to vote on moving
The
forward
30th
with
or the
ordinance
29th?
You know, either one to me, but I don't,
And cancellation of the county.
Cancellation of the.
Count.
Right.
Yeah. And then I think we can move forward, and we need to have it.
I mean, I can try. I mean, I'll know more on Friday.
well, so Jake, I think, you know,
I
you
don't
guys
have time
can
to
all
do anything
jump in
today,
to
so.
some degree on it and get, Sandy is her name? Is that? Jen, I'm sorry, I gotta get her 2 cents worth if she's got any input on that.
Like Chip said, we don't even really need, I mean, it's not like we have to.
I don't have to
It's all on the
I don't have to
website.
reinvent the wheel. All ordinances throughout the country that are similar cities to ours have the same ordinance.
Yeah. And that's fine.
So that's what my question is next week, Wednesday, Thursday, can we have a short meeting?
How about Tuesday? No, okay, Wednesday.
See, that's the trouble is.
Okay, Wednesday.
Or Friday is the first, you know, maybe the first would be okay
We
too.
need-
Wednesday
I
or
think-
Thursday, I think I can get it done by.
Okay, so I mean, that's what we're gonna shoot
I've
for.
got appointments next week, and I need to look at a date.
Okay.
to Make sure I'm not,
Well, you can always Zoom, maybe. I mean, I might have to Zoom.
I can't from where I'm at.
Jackson, are you available?
Yeah, yep.
God, I hate this thing.
I could do Wednesday. We're leaving out of town on Wednesday, and then we're coming back Friday. after.
27th, 28th, 29th, I'm fine. Those 3 days. The 30th, I have a problem with it, and I can't remember the time.
So let's go the 29th, that's Wednesday at 9 AM.
Sure.
Okay?
Oh, wait, yes. Yep.
Okay,
You still need to call, to vote on the motion that is on the floor. You had a first.
No,
No,
not
we had-
on your motion.
your motion was to tell us.
Give notice to the county.
Yeah.
So you made
You
it,
seconded it.
and I second, so let's vote on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You don't have to vote in favor
Opposed.
of it.
Because we're meeting before the
Opposed,
first.
because we're gonna do
Right.
it before the first, so I'm gonna vote opposed for now. We'll do it on Wednesday. So motion fails.
1 to 3.
1 to
3, you
Okay.
oppose that, Aaron?
Yes.
Yeah. So 3-1, it fails. So let's get back here next, the 29th, 9 AM.
Do you want to make a motion? Set the
I
meeting
move we meet on the 29th at 9 AM back here in the council chambers
to review the ordinance?
to review the proposed information for an ordinance and to vote on accepting or not accepting the county doing this again for 2024.
I second that.
Okay, any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to open this up for public. Does anybody have anything they want to say before we close it?
Just quick thank you for having this meeting, and then I saw a lot of these things that I was reading were worried about not being able to get all the short-term rentals. We still work, like Walla works with Crow Wing County, so we know. We get a list from Crow Wing County, so we have ability to use their software to understand who's actually doing short-term rentals in Cross Lake. So
And
that
who's
would
licensed?
be addressed, yes.
Okay.
We will direct them, if next week, we will direct them to either they're doing it or they are not doing it anymore, they are to refer those people to the city.
But Walla still, we're still gonna work with Crow Wing County,
So you'll get to see.
and
if
we're gonna
somebody's
work
trying to
with
sneak
Cross
in.
Lake.
If
and-
somebody's trying to sneak in.
Yeah, so we're gonna stay in communication, so we'll be able to
Okay,
know.
gotcha.
Tim, we really
Thank you.
appreciate your willingness to help.
I just want to make a comment about the existing files that are either not in compliance, have been fined, and kind of what we want to do with those.
Can we just,
No, I would enforce them however you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
I
good.
think-
They're not gonna
do
get
we
a
need to
pass,
do a
I-
second notice to them,
Well, I'm sorry, would you say,
A second notice saying you have failed to comply?
would you like us to send a second
Well,
notice?
Should we? I think is a better way to put it. Should we?
Yeah, Alex, whatever you think, but we don't want to let them go because they haven't done anything about
They-
it.
they
I would
need
like to, I'd make a motion to enforce it, whatever ability you have to do it.
Okay.
So
Just for,
I'll second that.
before you
Okay.
vote, just for a moment of clarification. So the reason these violations ended up with the city attorney is because they haven't complied. And I have one here dated the 16th of September. There was a letter sent on August 25th, another letter sent on September 1st as reminders, and
the county or?
by the county attorney, or not the county attorney, but for land services, the folks you were talking about earlier. So our process has been, if there was a complaint, if they didn't get compliance through the county process, that file got sent to the city attorney for further action. So I understand there's 14 of them now with these two?
With the two most recent ones you gave?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that. Based on what I'm seeing in the checklist, I've got, looks like 6 that are still outstanding in our database.
Okay.
And then the two so it would be 8.
So there's 8, not 22 or 14 or whatever
Because there's
Marcia's
a
number
handful
was.
that I have in our folder that are now in compliance. So there's been letters that have been sent, and they've been effective because they are now in compliance.
I've got a question. Back to Marcia's question. She said, where's that money going? Thank you. That was her question, is where's the money going? I'm assuming that the county is collecting that money and is keeping it, am I correct?
That I don't have an answer for you.
Okay. Mike,
Based on my
could you-
understanding, they're not coming by the office, bringing in person and dropping out the check.
Yeah.
It's,
Could you look into that, follow the?
Well, but I think if the county is enforcing it and sending the letters out, they should keep that money.
Well, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But Marcia had a question, where's the money going? And I
Okay,
think she
so-
deserves an answer to that.
Yeah.
Okay?
If the county sent a letter and said you're not licensed,
Yeah,
and they came in
yeah.
within those 3 letters, there is
That-
no fine.
There is no fine.
Right.
Okay, whatever. The county took care of
So
it.
far, there's only a handful that have not
Yeah.
yet complied.
So what we need to know is for those that have not complied, do we want to fine them from, under the city's ordinance and certify those fines to either have them come in and pay it or certify it to their property taxes? That's a different decision point.
I would say that we want to do that, except that the city does not have an ordinance quite yet. Oh,
We do.
Can we do it under our ordinance?
do.
Yes.
Well, then do it. Yeah, absolutely.
Give them a date they have to pay it by. And if they haven't paid it, certify it, do it.
And technically, you have another ordinance for the White Fishery Lodging Association, the 1% tax that's not being paid. If you're 3 quarters behind, I believe that the city has the ability to shut you down. That's a second ordinance.
Yeah, and we did. That's a recent ordinance we enacted.
Is that a new one, or is that?
No,
an old
that's
one?
been since
That's-
1997.
Yeah.
That's the
We
reason
don't
I
have the
started this
ability.
whole thing.
I've never seen that ordinance.
No, I don't think we have the
it's
ability to
been-
shut
it's
you
been-
down.
You do. We're going to double charge, which was the second thing in the ordinance where we were gonna, if you owed $8,000, you were gonna get a bill for $16,000 and the property came and paid their $8,000 before the city actually shut them down. I don't wanna say the property in town, but this happened, I wanna say back in 2017 or 18.
I remember it.
You know
That's-
what he's
Yeah,
talking
I know
about.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And we handled it separately.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so it's a real ordinance.
Okay.
So the goal of
But
this.
we didn't shut them down, is the point.
That, they went and paid their bill like
Yep.
the next day after getting that letter of having their thing assessed double.
But that's done on an individual basis.
They weren't paying their 1% of the Whitefish Area Lodging Association
Why
tax.
don't you update us on that stuff?
Is it a requirement that everyone?
If you're renting a room in Cross Lake, you must pay the 1% lodging tax.
And that's not being upheld right now.
Well, if we only have 120 people right now that are registered for short term and there's 300, then yes, there's a lot out there that aren't paying it.
And there could easily be 400.
Right, and so I'm just saying, you have another ordinance that you could use as a penalty.
Okay, thank you.
So let's talk about penalties just a second, Chip, before we leave, because I
Can
think.
we vote on that
We should vote on
motion?
this motion
Okay,
first.
Reiterate, please.
who
It
made
was
the
your
motion?
motion, Dave,
Oh, what'd I say?
to go ahead and fine according to the ordinance. And
Okay.
Aaron, you
I
made the
seconded
second?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, Alec, do you have the direction you need? Yes, I do. Thank you.
So what do you want to discuss there?
So the fines on the thing, is that part of the ordinance, or can we adjust that when we look through the ordinance?
You can pick whatever you want. You can always change it yearly.
Should we talk about it now, or should we wait to go through the ordinance?
I'd wait.
Okay.
It's in the first page of what we have here.
The goal of this thing is to get everybody to play by the same rules and to respect their neighbor. That's my goal, so. Okay, are we done?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.